Have you ever been scrolling your feed and just stopped in your tracks to watch a beauty influencer absolutely covered in glittery, patchy eyeshadow, struggling with some tiny little plastic wand? Yeah, you've probably stumbled upon the full face using only kids makeup challenge. But what if I told you there's way more to this trend than just a hilarious fail video? Let's get into it. So, it all kicks off with this super simple idea. A creator grabs a bunch of colorful, honestly toy-like makeup and then tries to do the impossible, create a flawless, full-face look. And the results? They're pretty much always chaotic, totally hilarious, and, as we're about to find out, surprisingly revealing. You know, behind all that clumpy mascara and chalky foundation, there's a really fascinating story about why we can't stop watching, why we hit share, and what is actually inside these little plastic compacts. So in this explainer, we're going under the glitter to really deconstruct the kids makeup challenge. First, we're going to break down the anatomy of a viral trend, and then we'll get into the psychology of why we share this stuff. After that, we'll dive into the makeup challenge itself, tackle a pretty serious question about safety, and then wrap it all up by looking beyond the glitter. Okay, first up, the anatomy of a viral trend. I mean, what is the secret sauce here? What makes a simple challenge like this one just completely explode across TikTok, YouTube Shorts, you name it? Well, it's not exactly magic. It's actually a perfect formula for short-form video. Think about it. In a fast-scrolling feed, those bright, silly packages just grab your eye instantly. The whole challenge format is already a trend, and the super quick cuts keep us totally locked in. But the real key? That frustration feels so authentic, which makes the final "what should I try next" feel like a genuine invitation to get in on the fun. So we get how it keeps our attention, but that doesn't really explain that impulse we get to share it with, like, everyone we know. And that brings us to the psychology of it all. There are some powerful, kind of invisible forces at play that make this content so ridiculously compelling. Just think for a second about the last video you shared. What was that feeling that made you hit the button? Was it to make your friend laugh, or maybe to show that you were in on the joke? Well, it turns out our reasons for sharing are actually pretty consistent. So why do we share? Well, the research is pretty clear. The number one reason for a whopping 40% of us is just for entertainment, to give someone else a good laugh. But the next biggest reason is really interesting. We share things to help define who we are. Sending a funny makeup fail video tells our friends, "Hey, I have a sense of humor and I get the joke." This whole idea of sharing to define ourselves, it's part of a concept called social currency. Basically, it's the idea that we share things that make us look good, or in this case, funny and totally in the know. This challenge, it's like pure social currency gold. Okay, so let's get to the real heart of the challenge. Why do these incredibly talented makeup artists suddenly look like they've never seen an eyeshadow palette before? Well, all the comedy comes from the struggle, and that struggle is totally rooted in cosmetic science. I mean, this quote from YouTuber SoCraftastic just perfectly captures the frustration you see in every single one of these videos. They dip a brush into this super bright blue eyeshadow, they go to put it on, and nothing. Or even worse, it's just this patchy, chalky mess. So what is actually going on? The problem isn't the artist, it's the engineering. Adult and kids makeup are designed with completely opposite goals. Adult makeup is all about performance. You want pigment, you want it to stick, you want it to last all day. Kids makeup, on the other hand, is designed for one thing and one thing only: easy removal. Performance isn't even part of the equation. And this is why we see that step-by-step disaster in every video. The foundation is just this watery cream that does nothing. The powders are basically pure chalk and glitter that absolutely refuse to blend. The eyeliner feels like you're dragging a dry twig across your eyelid. And the lip color is just a sticky, waxy mess. It's a battle against bad chemistry at every single turn. So yeah, the struggle is hilarious to watch. But as the videos keep going, a more serious question starts to bubble up. You see creators talking about weird smells or strange feelings on their skin. And that brings us to a really important question of safety. Okay, so the products are clearly not made for performance. We get that. But are they actually formulated with safety in mind, especially for adult skin that they were never ever meant for? The answer is a little more complicated and maybe a little more concerning than you might think. Just listen to this moment from SoCraftastic's challenge. While she's putting on the eyeliner, she says she feels a tingling sensation, something she's never felt with her regular makeup. Now, it's easy to just laugh that off, but that tingling, it could be a warning sign. So what could cause that? Well, dermatological research often points to really common ingredients that are known to cause irritation, stuff like propylene glycol or parabens. Now, they're not in every product, but the simple truth is these novelty items just aren't made with the same scientific rigor as adult cosmetics, so your risk of having a bad reaction can be a lot higher. At the end of the day, adult skin just has totally different needs. Those heavy fragrances and dyes that make the products fun for kids can be huge triggers for contact dermatitis in adults. That tingling feeling isn't a joke. It's your body sending up a flare, a sign of mild irritation, or maybe even the beginning of an allergic reaction. So, where does that leave us? We've seen how this trend is perfectly built for going viral, why our brains are basically wired to share it, and the science behind the disastrous and maybe even irritating results. What's the big picture here? When you really put it all together, the kids' makeup challenge is this perfect storm. It brilliantly mixes the mechanics of viral content with a struggle we can all relate to, all while accidentally shining a huge spotlight on product formulation and raising some really important safety questions we just don't think about. So what starts out as this simple, funny challenge ends up revealing all these hidden layers of science, psychology, and safety. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The next time a huge trend pops up on your feed, what are you going to look for just beneath the surface?